All right, this is Jason with the Primal Outdoors channel, and today's question and answer Tuesday is going to be on what do you have to do with the rooftop tent when you put it away wet. All right, so in my last video, I had to put the tent away wet because it was raining, and I got several questions on what kind of maintenance I have to do with the tent when I put it away like that. And it's really no different than any tent that you own. It's, you know, rooftop tents are still a tent, they're still made out of material, and like any piece of gear that's made out of material, if you put it away wet, you need to get it out and opened up and completely dried, or else you're gonna end up with mold, and rooftop tents are no different. So what I do, and when I get home with my tent, and right now it's actually sprinkling on us a little bit, so I'm probably gonna have to do that after this trip as well. But when I get home, I open the tent all up and get all the windows open and everything so that it can completely air out, completely dry. And then when I get it completely dried, then I put it away and put it under the cover and let it be stored for an amount of time. Now, you're gonna be okay if you can, if you get it done in a day or two, but I wouldn't let it go for much more than 2 or 3 days before you get your tent out. And a lot also is gonna depend on the current weather situation you're having. You know, if it's really warm, I would definitely make sure that you get it out soon. And something that you should really be aware of that is unique to the rooftop tents is once you put the tent away wet and you put it inside the cover, the tent is still exposed to the outside. So even if it's not very warm, if you get any sun on that cover, it's going to warm up the inside and it's going to create a environment to grow mold, probably even a little bit easier than say other tents, just because of the fact that a lot of times with other tents you're going to be storing them in a garage or something like that where they're not going to have the sun directly beating on the cover. So I would definitely make sure that you get your rooftop tent out and get it dried as soon as possible, as soon as you possibly can. Now, obviously that can be somewhat of a challenge for people who have their tents on their vehicle, but now that I'm using the trailer, it definitely makes things a little bit easier for me because I can take the trailer and unhook the trailer at home, open up my tent. Even if the weather's not stopped raining yet, I can just go ahead and open up the tent and let it sit open so I know that nothing's growing on the inside while I'm waiting for the weather to get better. So it's not that big of a deal, but I can definitely say that there will be some challenges. You'll have to kind of work around that if your tent is on your vehicle. But when I had my tent on my vehicle, I usually would get home here in Central Oregon. Typically, we're pretty dry. The air is pretty dry, so I usually could get home fairly easy and pop my tent open. And if I could even just get an hour with no rain, it would dry out the tent and I could put it away. Again, a lot's going to depend on where you're at and where you're from, and how easy it's going to be for you to get your tent to dry. But the main question is that I get is, do you have to get the tent out and dry it? And absolutely, that's an absolutely yes. You want to make sure your tent is fully dry before you store it for any amount of time. Anyhow, I hope you guys found this useful and informational. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, and I'll catch you guys again outside.